We're up to Daf Samach Zayin Amud Beis, and again the Gemara is trying to find a source in the Torah that, in the case of Anara Murasa, both her father and her husband, her Orus, together as a joint effort will be made for her Nedarim. And the Gemara tried to derive this from the psukim here that it says on the one hand in base Isha Nadara. That's one pasuk, and it also says im hayotiel leish. So the Gemara says the following: Lav lememra mimela shamet mina. From the pasuk in base Isha Nadara, l'chora we can derive two dinim. Number one, we can derive that the Baal is made for Nidre Ishto, and also it's only base Isha Nadara, those Nadarim that she took while she was already married, but Eno Mefer Bekodlin. So that's base Isha Nadara, he's made for Dafka Nadarim that she took the base Bailam. So therefore, from the fact that I can derive two things from the pasuk, the im base Isha Nadara, then the other pasuk certainly has to be talking about an Arusa. And it's a continuation of what it says earlier in the parasha, namely that the Av is Mayfair. So let's just take a quick peek at the psukim here in Parshas Matos. Right, we have let's say we'll start with Bamidbar Lamed pasuk Daled, and then we skip over to pasuk Yud Aleph. So it says in pasuk Daled, it says Isha kisidar nedel Hashem v'asra Isa v'beis Avia ben Ureha and v'shamai Avia, and that's the rights and the authority of the father to be mefer his daughter's Nedarim. And then it says in pasuk Zayin im hayos ish, etc., etc. V'shama isha, her husband, etc. And in biyom shamo in pasuk tes, shamo isha yon yosa v'hefes nedarel. So we have here these two parshas. One is the hafaras ha'av, and the other is hafaras ha'bal. And once again, if you want to derive two halachos, number one, the rights of the Baal to be mefer his wife's nedarim, and that limitation on his rights to those nedarim she took after the sur, but not the kodman, you can derive both from in base Isha Nedara. So that's what we have here, Shama Aviyah, and he Heinia Aviyah also can be made for Nedarim. You see Hayosi Ish, which we assume means Nedarim, means Erison, then V'Shama Isha, and her husband will Yanil Sa B'Yom Shamo, etc., etc. Then it says in base Isha Nedarim, that's in pasuk Yud Aleph, and then we talk about the Baal who has exclusive rights, because this is already after the Suin, and it's only Nedarim that she took the base Isha. So we derive two halachas from that pasuk. Ibay Sema, the Havaya, it says Vim Hayos Yel Ish, right? That we saw already inside, and that's in pasuk Zayin. That means Kiddushin Mashma. It's before Nisuin. So at that point, we introduce the Shama Isha in pasuk Ches as a continuation of what came before pasuk Zayin, which was Hafaras Ha'av. So we have both Hafaras Ha'av and Hafaras Ha'bal, the overlap of which is in Hayos Leish, when she's in a state of Erisin, but not yet Nisun. So now the Gemara wants to know, but maybe one of the two could be Mayfair on his own, and we don't need the other one's hafara, and the other one will join on, but in a secondary capacity. Like, for example, the Gemara is going to ask now, Ema av l'chudei meiter, the father himself, over the Nedarim of his daughter who's an Arusa, has exclusive rights to be made for the Neder, even without he doesn't need the partnership and the active hafara of the Oris. The Oris, on the other hand, cannot be made for on his own without the Av. And that's mashma because it says V'im with a Vav, V'im hayo siyah. And that's called Vav Mosif al Inyan Rishon. So we have the Av with exclusive rights to be made there. And then we have a secondary right, which is called Vav Mosif al Inyan Rishon and Al Yosi al Ish, that the husband could be made for a Nedarim, but the father could be made for the Nedarim independent of the husband. We don't need the positive hafar of the husband. So the Gemara now asks the following question on this kasha, meaning a teretz on this kasha. In Cain, if the father, according to this Havamina, could be made for alone without the oris, the osra ish isar base of yoniosa. Lovely. Why did the Torah at the beginning of the parasha, with regard to Nara Pnuya, that she's not married, she's not an Arutza, lovely? Why does the Torah have to tell me that the father has rights to be made for an Nedarim? Hashta is a Kal V'chomer Yeshlomar the Makom Orus. If she's already after made for Av L'chudei, the father has exclusive rights to be made for alone. Es Nidre Bito Ad Tanara. Is then Shalom Makom Orus, if she's a Pnuya and she wasn't married, boy, I need a pasuk to tell me that the father can be made for a Nedarim. And therefore, what we prove here is that the father is not made for Levado. If she's an Arusa, he doesn't have exclusive, independent rights to be made for his daughter's Nedarim, but rather he does so only with the Arus. And therefore, we need the pasuk to tell me that in the case of Nara Pnuya, the father has total exclusive rights to be made for Nedarim, whereas after Erisin, he has to join hands and link up in a partnership for Hafara with the Orus. The Gemara asks the following question now: Ema Avli boy Orus, but Orus L'chudei Mefer. Maybe we should go the other way around. Maybe the Av doesn't have exclusive control and rights to be made for alone. He needs the shutkus of the Orus. However, the other way around, the Orus L'chudei Mefer, maybe the Torah is giving the Orus rights to be made for even without the Av as an exclusive gesture. And V'chitem, if you tell me that Av the Kosa Rachman Alomali, so if the Arusa, if the Orus has exclusive rights, and the pasuk says V'im Hayosiyeh, so why do you Bechlal introduce the Av into the picture? Well, what's the impact or the significance of the rights of the father to be made fair? It's lo ma'ila, it doesn't add anything. And the answer is miboile di hekim. Although the father doesn't have exclusive rights to be made for Nedarim, but he can be making the Neder. And once he's making the Neder, the Orus no longer can be made for the Neder. The Hakam of the Baal, of the Av, is going to solidify the Neder in such a way that the Orus cannot be made for the Neder. So all this supports the Kasha of the Gemara that maybe the Orus, as far as Hafar is concerned, if the father was not making the Neder, could do the sole range of job of being made for the Nedarim. The Gemara answers in Cain, if the Orus has exclusive rights as a one-man show to control, to be made for his wife's Nedarim, she's only an Arusa, then base Isha Nedara Lamai Kasa Rachmana. Why did the Torah have to say, in the case of Nesua, that the Baal has rights to be made for Nedarim? That whole section, that whole pasuk is completely superfluous. We have a couple of comments. Ma'avamakam Av, when she's only an Arusa, she hasn't left the Rishus of the father completely. Is Oris made for L'chudei? You're saying now that the Oris nevertheless has exclusive rights to be made for Nedarim, Yishalom Makom when she's an absolute Nesua, she's absolutely left the Rishus of a father boy. You need a pasuk to tell me that the Baal could be made for Nedarim. If he could make for Nedarim, even when she's still partially in the Rishus of the Av, certainly when she's totally in the Rishus of the Baal as an Nesua. So why do I need a pasuk of Beis Isha Nedara? Whereas another kasha, Emo, perhaps we can offer the following possibility: the Oris himself could be made for Nedarim. Why is the Torah have to tell me in Beis Isha Nedara? Lomar to teach me she'ein Baal made for Bekodri. That even though after the Suin the Baal has total rights, just as he did when she was an Arusa, but the Torah wants to just add a condition that the Baal's ability and his rights to be made for Nedarim are limited to those Nedarim that she took during the Suin. And my answer is, Umine Oris Mefer Bekodmin. That in itself, that the Baal does not have control and authority to be made for the Nedarim that she took before she was married, that's already proven because Muchach, he says, Sha'oris Eino Mefer Levado. From the din that the Baal can't be made for the Kodman, you already prove and establish that the Oris doesn't have exclusive rights to be made for the Nedarim because Oris Mefer B'Nedarim Kodman Li'erisin. In the case of an Oris, he could be made for even a Nedarim that she took with Kodman. Because it says in Hayosiel Ish, Unidarel Olel. She already took those Nedarim previously. So she came into the marriage to the Erison with Nedarim, and the Torah says that the Baal could be made for her Nedarim. And therefore it's not possible that the Oris would have more of a power over the Nidre Arusaso than a Baal over Nidre Nisuaso. Elolav, and therefore we must assume that the reason why the Oris is made for the Kodmin is Mishum, because he's not doing a single job exclusively, a one-man show, but rather the Shutfase, the Av. He's working as a Shutaf together with the Av, and obviously that means that before the Erison she took these Nedarim. And this leads us to Daf Samachet Amud Aleph, which in Hashem we'll pick up on Yomi. Take this opportunity to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom.